What is up, everyone? Today is Tuesday, which means that's time for another live Q&A. As always, I'm your host, Paul J. Lipsky, here to answer any questions you guys might have about dropshipping on different marketplaces like eBay and Facebook Marketplace. We do a little Amazon. We've done a bunch of different stuff on this channel. What I suggest you do is check out some of my videos. If you're a student in one of my courses, watch the videos in the course. And if you have any questions after that, come into one of these live streams. This is a chance for you to ask me any questions that you have, and I'll do my best to answer those questions for you. As usual, in the description are a ton of links for some free resources for you, so definitely make sure to check out the description. But let's jump into the live chat now and see what kind of questions you all have. All right, what's up, Raza? Thanks for being here. So Cred says he's using Zeek Analytics for product research. Something is priced at $84.99, but the profit shows negative $42.73. Okay, so I think I'm following you, Cred, and what's going on here. So we use a software called Zeek Analytics to help us do product research. So basically, when we're looking for products to sell on eBay or Facebook Marketplace, we're looking for items that are already selling well or something that's similar to what's selling well. So we don't want to just throw up some random products onto eBay or Facebook and kind of like hope those products sell. We can use the data that's given to us by eBay, look at it through Zeek Analytics, which kind of breaks down that data for us and really tells us which items are popular, how often they're selling, how much they've sold in the past month, and can even find products that are available on both like Walmart and eBay and how much the profit is if we were to sell that. So that's what the software does. Now, some things it does perfectly well, some things it does really well, and some things, it doesn't always get perfect, to be honest. So this is one of the things I've noticed, that when it's finding products for us, it will find the product and it'll sometimes, again, find the product on the supplier's website like Walmart and say like, here it is on Walmart and here is how much profit you would make if you were to sell it. That matching of the product on eBay with the product on like Walmart is not always 100% perfect, to be honest. Sometimes it's off because sometimes the software will say like, oh, like this is like a pair of socks, for instance, selling on eBay. It sees the same pair of socks selling on Amazon, but really it's like a 20 pack on Amazon or something like that. Or it's a 20 pack on eBay and a 1 pack on Amazon, for instance. So sometimes like those little things might throw it off, depending on the title and the way it's set up and things like that. It's kind of some things that are outside of its control. So that's why sometimes the profit will be off. Or when you click through to the product on the supplier's website, that's not always 100% accurate. So it's always worth taking the time to check it yourself. Generally, what I do is I look at the product on eBay, take a look at that. We know that all the information from eBay is correct. So if it says, hey, this item has sold 5 times in the past month, that will be correct. Sometimes it's off by like one sale, because if the item sold recently, it will be like off just by that until Zeek rescans eBay. But yeah, generally that's going to be correct. So we know that product's selling on eBay. We know it's sold whatever 5 times in the past month, whatever Zeek says. Now you go find it on Walmart. Start with what Zeek tells you. Zeek says, hey, we found it on Walmart. Start there. Make sure, maybe it's an exact match. A lot of times it is, but a lot of times you have to kind of do your own sort of digging around sometimes in order to find the exact same match with the exact same quantity and stuff like that. So that's probably what's going on there. What's up, Brett? My pleasure to do these for you guys. Yeah, man, I'm here for you guys. I've been doing these every single week for like 4 years now, so pretty crazy, but I'm here for you guys. So Brett says, would you recommend SKU from what you know and heard about it? So SKU is a software that will list products into your eBay store for you and reprice and restock them. So there are a few different companies that sell software like this. The one I've been using for the past few years is called AutoDS. They've kind of become like a leader in this industry. They I think have like the biggest market share, I guess you could say, like the most number of users of any of these software, I believe. But I don't have access to that data. It's just based on conversations I have with people every day. It's certainly one that I use and recommend. So what that does is you put like an item from Walmart in there, just a URL for the product. It will list it onto eBay for you. And then if the price changes on Walmart, it will update the price. If the item goes out of stock on Walmart, it will update that. It does other stuff as well, but that's basically what it does. SKUGrid does the same thing. Now, SKUGrid is the software that I originally used. That was the first one that I used. And while I liked some things about it, like I like the fact that it works with a lot of suppliers, I don't like how difficult it is to use. It's not very beginner friendly or user friendly, in my opinion. And I haven't seen that really change. So that's my biggest complaint with them. If they were to like update their user interface, I think I would have a lot easier time recommending them to people. But what I always tell people is I would try AutoDS if I was you. That's the one that I, again, have used for years and really like and taught it to a lot of beginners who like it. If for some reason you don't like AutoDS, then try SKUGrid. I promise you, everyone who's done that has said that SKUGrid is a lot more difficult and confusing to use, but it may work for you. So again, that's what I would try doing. I know it works, SKUGrid, because again, I used it in the past. It's not like it didn't work. It did work, but the problem was that it was hard for me to recommend it to people because everyone who used it that I recommended it to was like, wait, I don't get this. This is confusing. And I was like, yeah, I agree. So I was pretty happy when AutoDS came around. Kind of made it easier. But it definitely does work. David says, does my eBay account need to have some purchasing history before I start dropshipping? I have a 1-month-old account with no purchasing history. Is that good enough to get started with? I've been kind of like losing my voice a little bit, so excuse me if I'm drinking a little bit more water than normal. You don't need to purchase things with your account. I do suggest that when you start a new account on eBay, you go through a priming process, which is really a process where you wait some time after you're setting up your account before you start selling products. You use your account every day by like looking at products. And yes, if you need some products for yourself that you would normally purchase them from eBay instead, just to kind of prime that account and get it looking normal to eBay so there's no issues once you start drop shipping. But you don't have to purchase stuff. But if you're going to purchase stuff anyway from like another retailer for yourself, I would do it from eBay. Unique Trend says, Paul, do you drop ship onto Walmart and do you recommend it? So you can drop ship onto Walmart. You can sell your products on Walmart. The same way that Amazon is a marketplace, so is Walmart. So most people don't know this. Most people think that when they buy something from Walmart, they're buying it, when they buy something on Walmart.com, they're buying it from Walmart. And in most cases, that is true. But third-party sellers like you and I can go onto Walmart and start selling our own products there, just like we can on Amazon and eBay. The thing is, this used to, when it first started kind of rolling out, be very lucrative for drop shippers. I had a lot of friends that were jumping into it, and they were doing really well with it, but within a year, Walmart shut that down. They decided they don't want people drop shipping on Walmart and shut down most of the drop shipping accounts. Now, I still have friends that are doing it and making money with it, but I think it's kind of like a game of cat and mouse where they're always trying to like evade Walmart and not let Walmart figure out that they're drop shipping. It seems like a huge, huge hassle, and it's not something, whenever I'm starting a new business, I'm always thinking to myself, okay, not only is this something that I can do, but will this be something that I'll be able to show to other people? Because sharing what I'm doing here on YouTube is a big part of what I do and why I do this. So even if I was able to set up a Walmart dropshipping account, I know it would be way too hard for most people. So it would be hard for me to like talk about it and teach about it here on YouTube because of all the limitations that they have. So really, I would not recommend drop shipping on Walmart because they just don't like it, and they tend to be shutting down accounts for doing it. Larry says, I made my first sale on eBay, so congratulations. Where are my sound effects? Where are those? A little bit of applause there. Any suggestions on how to be more profitable and more competitive? Yeah, Larry, so there's a few things that you can do here. They're all kind of like the foundational things. So one, get tax exemption with your supplier. That's going to make you more profit and allow you to be more competitive. Also, you want to make sure you're optimizing all of your listings. So great keywords in the title. Make sure your items are in the right category. Make sure you're maxing out your photos for all your listings. And also make sure you're doing great product research. Great product research is the number one thing that you have to do. So those would kind of be like my general suggestions for you. Brett says, are there any online marketplaces that actually allow retail dropshipping, or is wholesale the only safe method for marketplaces? So the rules on all the marketplaces that allow dropshipping do say that you have to, they don't actually make a distinction between retail and wholesale dropshipping. They make a distinction about you being the seller of record, I believe the way they call it. Like there can't be an indication that it's coming from another supplier. But this is one of those things where like we do it on eBay and eBay knows that we're doing it and they don't ban us for doing it. So it's kind of one of those things where they just, even though there's a written rule, in practice, that rule is not enforced. So we see that with things like eBay and Amazon. They kind of let you get away with it to a degree, but it's definitely harder on Amazon. Facebook, there's no rule against it at all. So definitely on Facebook, it is allowed 100%. At least there's no rule against it. Bassett says, I'm struggling to hunt products sourcing in the UK market. Suggest something. Yeah, I'm not too familiar with the UK market, to be honest, but I would look at Zeek Analytics. I think they work in eBay UK as well. So that might be something you want to try. David says, what if eBay ever asks you for proof of owning the goods? So a few things I'll say about this. First of all, if eBay asks you for that, you can get that from like a wholesale supplier, even if you just start working with them for the purpose of getting that proof of ownership. And second of all, what I'll say is that for some reason, people love to ask this question, but this rarely happens to people. So I really rarely have people reach out and say like, hey, eBay actually asked me for that. So I think it's a much, much smaller concern than people are actually worried about. Brett says, does eBay do your taxes automatically? For sales tax, for most states, I believe actually it might be all of them, don't quote me on that, but I know it's a lot of the states, they handle sales tax for you in the sense that they collect the sales tax and remit the sales tax to the states for you, so you don't have to do that. Do you have to ungate brands on eBay like you do on Amazon? No. So on Amazon, for those of you not familiar with this, there are certain brands that if you want to sell that brand, you first have to get ungated. It's basically you applying to Amazon saying, hey, I want to sell Nike products. Will you let me do that? And they're going to ask for some things in order to ungate you. Normally, they ask for certain kinds of invoices for you to be able to do that. But once you do that, you are allowed to sell Nike products in that case, or whatever the brand is. eBay doesn't have something like that, but they do have brands that you're not allowed to sell on eBay. They're called Vero brands. And if you use a software that I mentioned before, either Zeek Analytics, which does product research, and AutoDS, which does listing, both of those will actually alert you if you encounter one of those Vero products. So when you're doing product research, let's say you're looking at tools and a DeWalt tool comes up, like a DeWalt power drill, Zeek Analytics will put a little warning next to it saying, hey, this is a Vero item. You probably shouldn't sell it, and you shouldn't. Let's say you miss that, and then you go list it with AutoDS. AutoDS will tell you while you're trying to list it, hey, this is a Vero item. You probably shouldn't sell it, and you shouldn't. So that's the way we kind of avoid it on eBay. Gerardo says, I'm using my girlfriend's eBay as a stealth account. I want to form an LLC for it, but I want to register under my name so I can file taxes next year. How should I go about this with a stealth account? That might be a little bit too in the weeds for a video like this. You might want to consult with like a business attorney about that to get that set up the way that you want. Raza says, I have made an eBay account and connected to CJ Dropshipping. Do I first have to pay CJ Dropshipping to deliver to the customer? Then afterwards, eBay will pay me later. Is that correct? So let me kind of break this down for you. What will happen is, it seems like you're not using like AutoDS. You're using CJ Dropshipping. They kind of have like an automation software built into CJ. I've never used it. I'm sure it works, but I like using like AutoDS because then everything's in one place. If you're drop shipping from CJ and AliExpress and Home Depot and Walmart, it's all in one place in AutoDS. So, but you can do whatever you want with that. So the way it works when someone buys from you, someone buys something from you on eBay. Let's say they pay $100 for it. That $100 is not available to you right away. So what you then have to do is, well, in this case, CJ Dropshipping, you go over there, or maybe you have it set up to do it automatically, where the item will then be ordered from CJ Dropshipping with your credit card. And then the delivery address will be the customer's address on eBay. So the item will get purchased from CJ Dropshipping. CJ Dropshipping will ship it out. It will get delivered to the customer, and then eBay will release the money to you minus their fee. So you do need a credit card to kind of bridge that gap between when the item is actually purchased on eBay and when eBay releases the money to you. I've seen no indication that eBay would limit your account if you don't have a US selling account on eBay. What are your other marketplaces you sell on besides eBay? So eBay, Facebook Marketplace, and Amazon are the three marketplaces that I sell on. George says, do you recommend CJ Dropshipping for eBay or Facebook Marketplace? So I do not recommend it for Facebook Marketplace. I don't recommend you dropship from any Chinese supplier on Facebook Marketplace because they're a little bit more strict about when you have to upload a tracking number by. So you don't want to run into a situation, which will happen a lot when you're dropshipping from Chinese suppliers or suppliers in China, that you're not going to get your tracking number on time. So don't do it on Facebook Marketplace. Only dropship from US-based suppliers. So like Walmart, Home Depot, Amazon, if you're on Facebook Marketplace. For eBay, I generally recommend people stick to US-based suppliers. That is, I think, the safer route. It's a lot more beginner-friendly going that way. If you were going to dropship from China, I think CJ Dropshipping is one of the better options. I've tried AliExpress. I've tried CJ Dropshipping. AliExpress I found is very hit or miss. You know, some of the sellers are really excellent. Some of them aren't. CJ Dropshipping, I just found it to be better. Again, I wouldn't really recommend dropshipping from China, but if you're going to do it, CJ Dropshipping is probably the best option for eBay. Bassett says, how can I get your mentorship? So go on over to dropshippingtitans.com. You can check out some information there. Or down in the description of this video, again, are a bunch of free resources. I have a free guide on best suppliers to use, a free guide on the best software. So all the software I've been talking about in this video, I have a list of it in there, plus more, all the software I use, and links to the software. So click on the links for those. You'll be able to enter in your email to get those downloads. And that will also put you on my email list where I'll send you some more information about dropshipping and about my mentorship as well. So that's what I would actually recommend that you do. Get on that email list. It's Zamia says, when using AutoDS, is it better to manually put tracking numbers from TrackTaco directly into eBay from Walmart/Amazon orders, or should I put that info into AutoDS? It doesn't matter. As long as when you're putting it into AutoDS, it goes over to eBay. So let me break this down, kind of explain. There's a lot of stuff here that people might not be familiar with. So the first thing I'll say is that anytime a customer orders an item, you have to upload a tracking number for that order. So not right away, but you do have to within your handling time, usually a few days. So someone orders an item from you on eBay, you then order it from Walmart or Amazon. Once Walmart and Amazon gives you the tracking number, you want to upload that into eBay. That's kind of like the traditional way of doing it. Now, you could also, or instead, I should say, take that tracking number and put it into AutoDS, which will then upload it into eBay for you. So as long as that's working fine, you're more than welcome to do that. The TrackTaco thing that they're talking about here is a service we use in situations where like Walmart and Amazon don't give us usable tracking numbers, because a lot of times they ship with their own service that doesn't give tracking numbers we can upload into eBay. So we use TrackTaco to get usable tracking numbers. And in that case, again, put it into eBay or put it into AutoDS. Shouldn't make a difference. All right. Christians on the Brink says, hey, Paul, I like the software AutoDS, but I've noticed that AutoDS keeps taking some of my most popular listings and sets them at 0 quantity for certain periods of the day, even though my supplier has it. Why is that happening? Well, there could be a few reasons that's happening. First, go into your settings, because AutoDS, so what AutoDS first is looking for is the item in stock. If it's out of stock, it will mark it as out of stock in your eBay store. Makes sense, right? But it will also mark it as out of stock based on other settings. So if it sees that the shipping and handling time is too long for that product, it will mark it as out of stock. And you can change that in how long that time is inside your AutoDS settings. So those are the kind of things you want to look for to make sure that it actually behaves the way you want. And I think there's also a setting in there so that once an item sells, it will wait before raising the quantity back up, so that you don't get a ton of sales for a product and then realize after that point that it goes out of stock, and then it kind of screws you over. So if you want to change that behavior, you can do all that in the settings. Raza says, do we need to make a business Payoneer account for eBay to connect? Can you please make a video on how to do that? So if you're based here in the United States, when you're setting up an eBay account, eBay is going to ask you to connect it to your bank account so that they can send you money. If you're outside the United States, you can connect instead a Payoneer account. Now, I don't have to do that because I live in the United States, so I don't know that much about Payoneer, to be honest. What marketplace is working better currently, eBay or Facebook? So this year, eBay has been really strong for me. They go back and forth, but this year we put a lot more work earlier this year, I think it was this year, into eBay. So we're seeing a lot of good growth on eBay. How do I get around order cancellations on Walmart? Yeah, I've answered this a bunch of times, but there's a few reasons this might be happening, cancellations on Walmart. If you're brand new, you have a brand new Walmart account, normally you have to kind of spread out your orders among different payment options. So pay with one credit card, pay with a different credit card, pay with PayPal, whatever other options there are, kind of spread it out. As time goes on, they're going to stop canceling your orders and you can just place all your orders with one credit card. Sometimes other issues come up where they'll just continually cancel your orders. You have to call them. It's always a mistake. Call them and they're going to like see that you're a real person and they're going to stop canceling orders. You might have to do that a couple of times. So that's the short answer for that. I'm not sure what you mean by this. Bad selling standard. Which one do you recommend to start with, says Edwin? Right now, I recommend eBay dropshipping for most people to start. It's very beginner friendly. It's a good platform for most beginners to start on. Kind of really low barrier to entry. Mario says, after following you and watching over 10 of your videos, thank you very much, Mario, I think I'm almost ready to start drop shipping. Do you recommend an eBay business or personal account? Do I need to sign up with AutoDS? So if it's possible, I always recommend a business account for eBay. You're going to get some, what we see is a lot of people who do that get higher limits if you have a business account. It's a better idea just to do it. So if it's possible, sign up for an eBay business account. If you already have an eBay account, that's a personal account, you can turn it into a business account. I'm rolling my eyes because eBay doesn't make this easy. I don't know why eBay has to make everything difficult. There's like no straightforward way to do this. Basically, you have to list some products, sell a product, and then you can usually transfer it into a business account. I don't know why you can't just do it easily, but that's the way it works. And then AutoDS, yeah, I would sign up for AutoDS. They have a trial. Again, if you go into the description of my video, there's a free download, free PDF of all the dropshipping software I use. Download that, and then there is a link in there to AutoDS. Sign up with that, and you can get like a trial of it for like $1. Itzamia says, do you recommend any dropshipping sites that are comparable to CJ Dropshipping that are located in the United States? So when you say comparable, there are plenty of good suppliers based here in the United States. Like we use Walmart, Amazon, for instance, Wayfair. But when you say comparable to CJ Dropshipping, I'm thinking what you're trying to say is like a website that looks like CJ Dropshipping with like super low prices. You're not really going to get that in the United States, right? It's a different kind of market here. So the closest you're going to get, honestly, is Amazon, because a lot of those products that you can buy on AliExpress and CJ Dropshipping are available on Amazon. The price is just higher because it's faster shipping, because it's in United States warehouse. So you can look at CJ Dropshipping. They have US-based warehouses. Banggood has US-based warehouses. AliExpress, I feel like they do, but for some reason, I'm also not sure about that. So you might want to check on that. So those can all be options if you just stick to the US warehouses. Basit says, why don't you make Facebook or WhatsApp group for public questions? Because this is the place to do it. Okay, so there's two reasons for that. One, this is a place to do that. And two, I'm only one person, to be honest. I already, so just be 100% like truthful about this, okay? Just kind of like vulnerable about this. I'm only one person, and I've tried outsourcing kind of like my customer service, so to speak, but it's hard to do it, right? Because there's some like nuances to people's questions. So I have a lot of students, right? And they get priority. So when students reach out to me through email, students can reach out to me through chat, and I can answer their questions directly. That's me answering all of my emails and all my chats. Again, I've tried to outsource it before. I think outsourcing works for things like drop shipping, but for something like this, it's hard for me to outsource it because, I'm the one with the knowledge and experience, and there's only so much I can teach like a virtual assistant to be able to answer questions. So yeah, kind of like those groups I leave exclusively for people who have paid, because I'm only one person. I can only do so much in one day. Gerardo says, do you have a course on eBay dropshipping? What is your take on this versus Amazon FBA? Would you recommend a separate account for eBay wholesale? All right, so this is a good last question before we close things out. So I do have a course on eBay dropshipping, wholesale dropshipping. It's available if you purchase my eBay course. So I have an eBay course that teaches you how to dropship from retail websites like Walmart and Amazon. But included with that, you get a second course for free that teaches you how to do wholesale dropshipping. So when you sign up for one, you get the other one. What is my take on that versus Amazon FBA? Well, I like Amazon FBA. I do it. And the type I do is called online arbitrage. I buy stuff from eBay and I send it into Amazon to sell it. There are other ways to do it, but that's how I do it. I really like that model. But with drop shipping, the barrier to entry is lower, the cost to get started is lower, and the risk is lower as well. So my focus has always been drop shipping for that reason. It really allows you to scale up, I think, much faster than you can and much larger than you can with other business models. Because if you buy products for Amazon FBA, you purchase the product. You have to wait for it to be shipped out. You have to wait for it to be delivered. You have to wait until you repackage it. You have to wait until you send it to Amazon, and then for the delivery to Amazon, and then for Amazon to purchase it. During all that time, your money is tied up. With drop shipping, your money is, and then you have to wait for Amazon to actually pay you. So that time period between the sale and when they pay you. With eBay drop shipping, your money is only tied up between the sale and when eBay releases the money to you. It's a much shorter time period. So it really allows you to scale much bigger. And for beginners, it's just more friendly to do drop shipping. You don't have to hold any inventory and stuff. Would I recommend a separate account for eBay wholesale? Not in the beginning. I wouldn't waste having a second account for wholesale, but certainly if you start to do well, you might want to separate the two out. Great questions. All right, so that's it for this week. Thanks everyone for hanging out and asking great questions. If you want to join the next live Q&A, I do them every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern time. So make sure to come, make sure to ask your questions. And as normal, in the description are a bunch of free resources for you. See you guys next week.